It was raining. Written by FluttershyFilly Yay. It was raining. Awfully hard, but not that drastic. Fluttershy was waiting at a train stop. She had missed it by a few minutes and was upset for that to happen. Her train was to pick her up and take her back to Ponyville, for she was only visiting a friend. There was a path to her home, but she didn't want to take it, since she didn't have any sort of transportation, and, well, couldn't get wet either. The Pegasus sighed and sat down. The ceiling covered her from the rain, fortunately, but she didn't know how long she'd wait until the weather would go away. Suddenly, a flash of light illuminated the place. It was a creature of mismatched animal parts.
Discord?
The named creature grinned.
Fluttershy, my dear. It's been so long since our last meeting.
Discord, it's only been a month or so. That's not far off.
And my, it felt like an eternity.
Discord glanced around and frowned.
I would have thought you'd be at home, not in this frigid, damp place.
I was supposed to be on my way home on a train, but I missed it. I'm just waiting here till the clouds move.
Huh.
He looked down at her.
Need assistance?
Fluttershy looked back at him.
Oh, no, you don't need to.
I insist.
He snapped his fingers. A butterfly umbrella appeared.
Oh, but wouldn't it be easier if...
Come along, my dear. It won't take long if we begin now.
He grabbed her hoof and led her down the path that was mentioned earlier. The reason why he didn't just teleport them straight to her home was, well, Discord thought it'd be better if they actually walked there. They'd have much more time to communicate and bond if so. It had been a while, actually, now that he had thought about it. Oh, and how he missed their sweet talks over tea and sandwiches. It felt like many years had gone by without him even noticing. Had it really been that long? He peeked over at the mare, receiving a gentle grin from her.
Oh, darling, forgive me,
he thought sadly, while keeping his eyes on her, till eventually focusing back on the path. The walk was quiet, technically the opposite of what he was going for. The rain was the only accompaniment to their silent trip. Discord glanced at her a few times, one being a few seconds. He smiled warmly. The water brushed against her mane, sparkling a bit. It was a glorious tumble of star-like luminosity, as if she were the goddess of beauty herself. It was so much to describe, and yet it was enough to make his heart thump.
You fool! Enough of this nonsense! You should know that she won't be interested if you had told her. It won't happen, so quiet! And yet, it's difficult to look away from the fact that she really is so enthralling.
Her eyes were closed for a few moments, giving him the advantage to take in her radiant appearance for a few moments more. They fluttered open as she turned to look at him. He quickly looked away with a blush. She raised her eyebrow, then turned her head straight. Discord bit his lip. He wanted to say something dearly, but his courage was swept away.
Oh, honestly, I can't just leave her in complete silence. I'm better than that. But what could I say? Goodness, what in the question was this mare doing to me?
It's beautiful, isn't it?
He snapped out of his thoughts and focused back on her.
What was that?
The rain,
she said, looking away from him.
Oh, yes, indeed it does. The weather ponies sure do know their ways, huh?
Fluttershy closed her eyes once more. Is something wrong, Fluttershy? The Pegasus slowly looked up at him. Her eyes, they gleamed softly back at him. She grabbed his paw and guided him to a tree that was laying on the ground. They both sat down, the umbrella covering the both of them. Once again, it became quiet between the two. Discord was slightly confused by what the young Pegasus intended to do. That is, until she spoke, with words calm and relaxed.
The rain is something else. Something to experience with another. I've always thought of having this short little moment with someone special.
He blinked, leaning towards her, without knowing what he was even doing. She leaned in as well.
Sharing this moment with you, it feels like something that'll last forever, even when it's only for a few minutes.
Her other hoof went up to his face. It caressed him gently, making him close his eyes with its small touch.
Discord?
Her voice made him shiver a bit. It sounded like an angel from heaven itself. Their faces were so close. He whispered, Yes? Fluttershy moved both of her hoofs around him.
Thank you.
He opened his eyes. Looking down at her little self, he smiled at her, wrapping his arms around her as well. Darling, I can't hold the umbrella with no arms. She smiled up at him.
Being with you in this embrace is much more better than being dry.
They laughed and hugged tightly, both of them getting poured with massive amounts of rain from the sky. He looked at her, then used his paw to move a single piece of hair strand away from her eyes. She blushed lightly, her eyes keeping contact with his. Even when you're all wet, my dear Fluttershy, you still look absolutely gorgeous. He smiled. Fluttershy giggled, looking away.
Silly.
You know it's true, darling. He dug his muzzle into her mane, still having that sweet scent of roses. She rested her head against his fur, not having a single care about the weather. Her mind had already forgotten all about it. Because of him. Just him. They both looked at each other for a single second, then closed their eyes, their embrace giving each other love and warmth. They only needed each other. And that was that.